Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And as you can see, I'm not at the radio station where I do these videos every morning. I'm actually on the road. I'm in Alabama. Me, my fiance, and our son, we traveled to Alabama for Thanksgiving. So I did want to talk to you all about the Thanksgiving games, the New Orleans Saints taking on the Atlanta Falcons. We all know what happened last time, man. Ain't no way to sugarcoat it. No need to beat around the bush. One of the worst performances we've seen out of the Saints all season. The Atlanta Falcons really handed it to the New Orleans Saints, 26-9. It wasn't a lot of things that you can take from that game as a fan that were positive. But the New Orleans Saints really have an opportunity to do something that no other team has done this season, and that is wrap up the division. The New Orleans Saints can win the division if they knock off the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I know a lot of people in the Who Dat Nation are excited about that. Atlanta Falcon fans been talking all week, talking mad greasy like they Super Bowl contenders, like they going to the playoffs. But this right here can right the wrongs and shut a lot of those fans up if the New Orleans Saints can end up beating the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta to seal the division. Can you imagine the Saints popping division championship champagne inside of the locker room of the Atlanta Falcons? I know that'll feel good to a lot of people, but let's go ahead and talk about this game, man. The New Orleans Saints, what do they have to do to win this game? It's relatively simple. The New Orleans Saints got to run the football. 18 carries last game when you had a 14-0 lead on the Carolina Panthers. Absolutely unacceptable. Most of the game you led by at least double-digit points. Still didn't run the football. The New Orleans Saints have got to run the football. That is the way that you win on the road. That is the way that you continuously, control the time of possession. That is the way that you milk the clock. That's the way that you eliminate crowd noise and anything like that, even though we know the Falcons don't really have fans, so we don't have to worry about crowd noise. But nevertheless, they have to run the football. Another thing that they have to do that is very, very important, they got to get pressure on Matt Ryan. Last game, Cam Jordan talked about the offensive line of the Atlanta Falcons in the offseason, leading to the draft, talking about how they drafted these young guys. But those young guys held him in check alongside the rest of the front four. The Saints have got to get pressure on Matt Ryan. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He can pick you apart, and they have to make sure that they get off the field on third down. There were a lot of plays that the Atlanta Falcons ran. You seen Matt Ryan scrambling for first downs. We don't want to see that, okay? If you want to win this game, you got to get off the field on third down. And most importantly, you got to protect Drew Brees. You got to protect the investment, okay? You have the whole left side of the offensive line. They're substitutes, okay? We know Teron Armstead isn't playing. He's dealing with a high ankle sprain. We know Andrews Pete's not playing. He has his arm messed up. He's out for another month and a half. And now you have Nick Easton. You have to be able to protect Drew Brees. You got to allow him to have time where he can throw the ball down the field. And most importantly, you got to get all these other young guys involved in the game. Last year on Thanksgiving, the New Orleans Saints really handled business against the Atlanta Falcons. You had a lot of the young players, a lot of the unusual suspects making plays. I want to see this in this game. Last year, you had Keith Kirkwood scoring touchdowns. You had all these other young kids that nobody even heard of scoring touchdowns in the game. That is what the Saints need to do. They need to get these young players involved. They need to get them inside of the game. That way you can remove pressure off Michael Thomas and also, allow him to do what he does, and that is make plays. If they go out there and you have wide receivers out there that's catching passes, the Atlanta Falcons defense has got to respect those guys catching the ball, so they got to roll some coverage their way, and that opens up one-on-one matchups for Michael Thomas. If the Saints do this, if they do this, they will be division champions. If they don't do this, then we are going to have to go another week and watch the New Orleans Saints have to go home against the San Francisco 49ers and possibly try to wrap up the division there. But this game right here, I mean, that is what it's all about, right? I mean, every team has goals every single year. I mean, the first goal is to win a division. When you win a division, you make the playoffs. When you're in the playoffs, it's anybody's game. So the New Orleans Saints, if they want to be successful, if they want to make it to, the Super Bowl, they have to win games like this. They cannot allow themselves to be out here going up against teams and making it competitive every single time when they have the capability of being one of the best teams in the league. They got to go out here and handle their business. They got to continue to go in the right direction, eliminate these penalties. One of the most penalized teams in the league. You cannot win games like this. You got to make sure that you clean that up. The Saints do that, I guarantee you, everybody's going to be dancing around their living room with a Thanksgiving turkey leg in their hand saying that the Saints are division champions. And then you're going to be telling your Atlanta Falcon friends that, once again, you're calling this your Super Bowl and you lost. But this is the State of the Saints podcast. It is yours truly, TJ Jones. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com. Search The State of the Saints podcast. Also, facebook.com. Please follow the Facebook page. Thank you all very much. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. And I hope that we're all saying who dat in a positive way on Turkey Day. Till next time, all I got to say is who dat.